Welcome to the Bible Forum. I'm Warren Sprouse. We do this every Sunday night from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern. Love for you to be with us live in the chat room. I want to talk to you about casting out demons in Congress. Not my idea. Charisma News is reporting that during his opening prayer a week ago Thursday morning, Reverend Pat Conroy, chaplain for the U.S. House of Representatives, cast out spirits of darkness from Congress. He says, but there are literal spirits of darkness that need to be driven out from the chambers of Congress. There are demonic spirits all over the world, especially in places of influence and power. Why wouldn't they be active in our halls of Congress? As pointed out by Representative Stephen Smith, he's from Georgia, in a tweet to President Trump, there are a lot of evil spirits in this world, sir. The Charisma article notes that Reverend Conroy began his prayer by saying, quote, this has been a difficult and contentious week in which darker spirits seem to have been at play in the people's house. He continued by declaring, I cast out the spirit of discouragement, which deadens the hope of those who are of good will. I cast out the spirit of petty divisiveness, which clouds the sense and desire to be of fruitful productivity in addressing the issues more appropriately before this House. I cast out any sadness brought on by the frustration of dealing with matters detrimental to the honorable work each member has been called to engage in. This identifies him as a charismatic. This is the way charismatics go at it. None of what you just heard me read, none of what he said or did will you find in the Bible. They had created their own dynamic and their own ideas about demonism and how to. But he also prayed for an environment of unity, as he said, so that any spirit of darkness might have no place in our midst. There's no way to know just which demonic spirits are or are not at work in Congress, nor whether Reverend Conroy's prayer was effective. But demons are real, and they are destructive. They are divisive, and they help carry out their master, Satan's, plans on earth. Paul wrote about it in Ephesians chapter 6, where he says, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. He was not exaggerating. We are in a spiritual battle. The spiritual realm is real. There are angels and demons in the unseen realm as surely as there are rocks and trees in the visible. And these angels and demons have direct impact upon the world in which we live. But does that mean we need to focus on them, fear them, do battle with them? Now, it certainly doesn't mean that we abdicate our responsibility, as in, well, the devil made me do it, it's not my fault. In life, we alone are responsible for our choices and our actions, and we alone are to blame for the wrong things we do, no matter how much Satan and his minions may have tempted us or manipulated us. We would be foolish to ignore the realities of the spiritual realm. But to put this much energy into it and be this creative about what's going on, it goes a little far. Jesus did not ignore the realities of the spiritual realm. He regularly cast demonic spirits out of people. And the apostles certainly didn't take it lightly. They also cast out demonic spirits, urging us to resist Satan. James 4:7, 1 Peter 5:8 and 9. Paul also wrote 2 Corinthians 2:11 that we should not be outwitted by Satan, for we are not ignorant of his devices. Now that applies both individually and corporately, as we understand that Satan intends to destroy people both on a personal and a national level. But today we don't have perfect knowledge of these things. We don't really know all we need to know if we're going to go out and do some overt battle. One day we will have that perfect knowledge, and we'll be able to look back on these days with greater clarity. But somehow I find it doubtful whether we will have this kind of memory at that time in our life or care. But for today, we would do well to heed the biblical warnings about the spirits that inhabit our world. They are characterized as battling against God's angels in regard to both God's purposes and, quite literally, our survival. But I don't believe there's any place in the New Testament epistles that tells us to go out and do battle, to go out and take on these demons, even if we do it in the name of Jesus. Walk carefully. It's a dangerous world. And sometimes just talking about them in the way this pastor did might embolden them. You never know.